Just touching on Damo's first point there about how it's affecting you and the coaching staff. At times like this, is it even more important how you guys act around the place, and because the players take the lead from the coaching staff, don't they? So do you have to kind of think a little bit more about how you are around the place?
Academy winning Oscar at times, up for. Not sure I'll win anything on that, but of course you do, yeah, because there's times where you want to come in and you want to chuck teacups about and whatever, but there's a time and a place, so you have to be balanced in terms of how you are as well, and read the situation as well. So yeah, that's the way it is. I'd like not to be, but you have to, and we have to. I have to read the room, read the situation, read the occasion, and where the players are. They need help. Players need help. You can't get away from the fact, though, when I'm doing interviews, and I've said this all along, I'm not going to mug myself off by spinning it and saying, well, it was great, and we did this right, and we did that right, and the stats did this, and the stats did that. You're there, live on Sky, on a Monday night, everybody in the world watching you, and the performance is the performance. And you have to analyse that, and you have to talk about it pretty quickly, pretty emotionally after games. So, not chucking anybody under the bus. It is what it is, and that's the performance for everybody to see. Our supporters, everybody else's supporters, so-called pundits, everybody, owners, the lot. So they see that. So you have to be honest, which I'll always be in terms of my assessment of my team, whether it's good or bad. But like I said, you just have to. We have to try and help the players and try and get through what we need to do and getting that balance right, because you have to deal with it. You have to deal with certain situations. We have to deal with the start. We have to deal with the goals. We have to deal with the manner of the goals. We have to deal with looking at my team and it being a passive team at the moment when these things are happening. It's not a passive team in general, because it wasn't at Luton, it wasn't at Wolves, and it wasn't against Villa, and it wasn't against West Ham, and it wasn't against Liverpool. But I've got to say, it has been and even the Brighton game, it has been in the last 20 minutes against Brighton. It was in the first 20 minutes against Villa, and it certainly was for the first half an hour against Arsenal. So you have to, like I said, one of the things a phrase that people talk about now is you have to own that, which we have to, and take that responsibility. But we've got to try and help the players as well. So deal with the situation, deal with the truth, but then quickly moving on to for us to be positive towards that next challenge, which is obviously the challenge of getting the performance right on Saturday.
Yeah. How much, as well as that, how much do they have to figure it out for themselves as well? Because it can't all come from you. One of the hallmarks from your first spell, I think, was that the fact that the seniors ran the dressing room. You had players there who could look after themselves and sort things out. With the sort of turnover and the age of the squad now, do you still have that?
Well, the setup is decided by the coaches and the manager in any organisation. The setup at Arsenal is decided by Mikel. Yeah. And I think you've seen that on Netflix, his influence and what he has. Time's always a difficult one to change it around, because there's you haven't really got that ability at the moment to get it to what I want it to look like. And when you do get it to what you want it to look like, it does self-police itself, like we talked about. And there's an obvious lack of that in the group. And maybe that's the case, that's the reason that it does go from 1 to 2 to 3 pretty quickly. But people have got to grow up, and and there has to be new leaders that come through, whatever they are, whether they're boys that in that group in the past have been pretty quiet and not very vocal. Maybe they have to step up because they know the way around a football pitch. Or even the likes of, a Brooks or an Arblaster that come into the game, that they find it natural to organise and pull people about and wanting to get on the ball. So you're always looking for that new group to come through. Obviously, it's a little bit bereft of those types of characters at the moment. But some will come through, some will fall by the wayside, and then some will come into the building when we have that opportunity to do in the future.
Yeah. Just looking forward to this game at the weekend. I don't think anyone would argue that Bournemouth are a bigger club than Sheffield United in terms of, everything that you see there. But how, obviously they've chucked a lot of money at it this season and in the past. How do you sort of bridge that gap between teams like Bournemouth, teams like Brighton? I know there's a lot of money being chucked in there, and obviously this can't happen here. How do you sort of bridge that gap?
All the stuff that we talked about, and what you've seen, and what makes a successful team. Technical players that are good on the ball, that can produce big moments, tactically sticking to a plan, and when asked to do a job diligently, physically run around and make contact with people and make tackles and don't shirk tackles, and want to run forward and want to run back when it's hurting, when it's the last dying embers of the game, regardless of the scoreline. Want to put the bodies on the line to stop shots and block crosses and do all those, the nasty, ugly part of the game. And mentality, have a bit of arrogance about you when you're in a game, to show that I'm a good player, that we're a good team, and when things go against you, show a little bit of pride and take responsibility for that in your individual performance, and making sure you get yourself right, and drag yourself and your team through difficult moments. So like I keep saying, when the sun's shining, easy to play. When it's not, that's your ultimate test. And I suppose that's not just a test in football. I suppose it's a test in every sport when it's not going well. And I suppose it's a test in life where everything's going swimmingly well, everybody's enjoying life, and then something happens, and how do you approach those situations, which happens to everyday people in everyday jobs. And what's your character really like when you scratch beneath the surface, when you get tested out? And can you put your head on the pillow at night and go, yeah, couldn't have done any more? And if we have that in the group, then we lack a little bit of quality, and it might be decided on quality, but it can't be decided on attitude, and it can't be decided on organisation, and it can't be decided on lack of responsibility from us all. So we're all in that together, and if we can make that a little bit better, then we can bridge the gap as what's happened. In the future, is there a place for a Sheffield United in the Premier League? I 100% believe that there is, just as much as there is for Brentford, there was for Burnley, there is for Brighton. So, of course, yeah, you'll talk from a financial point of view, but there's a little bit more to it as well. There's plenty of clubs that have had a right go that are still struggling at the bottom of the league, that have spent fortunes and not got it right. So yeah, there is that balance, but there's a lot more other things that need to go into it to be a team, and we show signs of being a team, and then we show signs of not being a team, and my job is to try and help the team and lead the team into being that more consistent of teams.
Yeah, I know you touched on Mitch with Adam, and I know that you're keen to get some more analysts in the recruitment side of things. How big is that for you, that side of that recruitment?
Yeah, we need to get more eyes on players. We need to get more people in that department. I think we've got 12 or 13 in the medical department, and at the moment we're undercooked in that. Mitch did a hell of a lot of work in that and driving it forward, and there's some good things that have happened, and a lot of good work that's gone on, but we need to revamp and push those numbers forward, and the owner has been very keen to do that in that department, and lighten the load on certain people, and make us put that department in a better place.
Yeah. You've always been a manager who likes to plan short, medium, and long term. Have you had that clarity, if you like, from the owner about the long term plan? Have you spoke to him about that?
Yeah, I'm going out to Riyadh next week for meetings with the owner for 4 or 5 days. So I'm looking forward to speaking to him then, and he's positive and he's supportive. Stephen Bettis has been positive and supportive as well. So they understand the situation that we're in. They're not liking the situation. I didn't expect them to, as we all take that responsibility, and we're all hurting. regardless of if the owner's, you know, at every game or not at every game. It's, you know, he watches diligently, and we speak frequently. So he's keen to get stuff moving and planning. There's still some life in us. You know, I've not been told that we're relegated yet. We will be if we continue to play like we did for half an hour or 40 minutes against Arsenal. That'll happen pretty quickly. So that's got to be our challenge, not for that to happen. But obviously, you know, there's got to be, and you're right, I am a medium to longer term planner. You know, because that has to happen at a football club. We keep saying we've got good things happening, and I'm sure that the more things will come out in the next 2 or 3 weeks. You know, off the pitch as well as more longer term things that will happen. You know, going into next season and beyond.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I've been meaning to ask this for a few weeks, but there's been talk since you were last here about upgrades to the training ground. Just generally, how important is that for you? Because there has to be a legacy, doesn't it, from this 3 seasons